episode 122 of the Parkrun Adventurers coming at you loud and fast. I'm Mel Urbacher, co-host of this little podcast. I am joined by Scotty Trickett. Scotty, howdy.
Howdy, the other co-host of this little podcast. Now, are you still singing? Yeah, are you still singing, Mel, from last week?
I have been singing intermittently since last week's episode, yes.
Good.
Mostly Bonnie Tyler songs. YouTube did, you know what, how YouTube takes you into that spiral where, you know, if you just let it play, it just
been there many
finds other
times.
similar songs.
Yep.
Yeah. So, been doing some investigations and finding some interesting stuff, which is good fun.
Good. Well, there's a treat in store because we're doing it again. But that's...
Again?
We're doing it again. I'm not going to let this one go. We're going to have a sing-along at the end of today's episode as well. I'm not going to let this go until the lawyers come after us. Because luckily, you know, we're a week in. Bonnie Tyler's lawyers haven't contacted us just yet. So I think
is it possible?
I think we're in the clear.
Under the radar.
I think we're in the clear. I think it's I threw that Netflix money around and paid off a few people. So I think we're in the clear. So I'm going to try it again at the end of the episode this week. But stay tuned. Stay tuned. Lots can happen between now and then. What's happened in your world since last time we spoke?
In my parkrun world or in all the worlds?
Let's start with parkrun.
Let's start with parkrun. I was at Kiwana for our 300th event last weekend, and we celebrated with a 59.59, Scotty.
There we go. Is that a celebration? I'm not sure.
Well, it wasn't intentional. Let's look at it that way.
Yeah.
But it was a celebration of the life of our stopwatch and the service it has given us at our event over that time is not to be downplayed. You know, a lot of people sort of don't appreciate the technology and what it gives every week. And it had a really good innings, our stopwatch at Kiwana. It was the second one. We have previously had one 59.59, which was roughly a little over 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. And so that's when we got our first 59.59 when our first stopwatch died. And now after an extra 127 events, recording 18,413 individual times and being operated for more than 150 hours, the second stopwatch, sadly passed away on the weekend. Couldn't cope with the cold and just, It was very sad. And unfortunately, it kind of happened a little bit too late in the event to substitute in with the new app because I was volunteering at the finish line. However, because I wasn't run directing, I thought, hey, this is a great opportunity to get the barcode scanners on the app. So I gave one of them my phone so that she could scan with the app. And if I had just given it to the timekeeper instead at the beginning of the event and said, hey, would you like to try it as a timekeeper? Wouldn't have had the issue. But yeah, it didn't really properly croak until after the first 110 odd runners were through, and then all the buttons stopped working. So you couldn't stop it, you couldn't split it, you couldn't store the race data, you couldn't do anything, and it was very upsetting because you couldn't even go through and recall the times that it did have. Very frustrating. And obviously disappointing for some participants. I only got a few emails from people who obviously don't look at Facebook and see that we had made an announcement about it. But, yeah, everybody was very understanding and, that was good. But not how you intend to start a Saturday, for example. How was your weekend?
So, well, before we get on to me, so what does the future hold for Kiwana? Does this mean we're going into the future with the app?
Well, as time would have it, I was previously like literally on the weekend. I sort of said, damn it! If it had only held out a few more weeks, because I know the Android app is on its way, but it's just a little bit prohibitive with only having it on iDevices at the moment. So I felt the need to think, well, no, we're going to actually have to replace the stopwatch. I didn't want to, and I have been stalling and I haven't actually put in a request. I know I'm leaving it late in the week to request a replacement stopwatch be sent to me. But as luck would have it, time is actually on my side, Scotty.
Because
an announcement went out last night about the Android app.
it's here.
It's here.
Very exciting. Well, not really for me because I don't have Android, wouldn't go anywhere near it after my last experience, but I'm excited for all those people that do want to use an Android app because this is the future. This is the end of the stopwatch, Mel. This is the end of the scanners. People just need to embrace the app. We are going to be the number one champions of this app moving forward. People are going to go back in history and go, yep, Mel and Scotty were right all along. Or it could backfire horrendously and blow up in our face. But I'm confident that it won't. I really like this app and we need to embrace it. So I'm glad that you're embracing it. If I ever start an event again, which is on the cards, small tip, got
Westerfolds Juniors.
Yeah,
that's app only.
That is app
Isn't
only. Yeah, app only,
Yeah.
No problems whatsoever. But if I start another 5K event, I'm going to say, no, don't even bother with a stopwatch. Just give me the...
And that's on the cards because you've got all this extra time.
Yeah, why not? I love parkrun, Mel.
I'm getting that impression after all this time.
Yeah. I tell you what, I do love it after the weekend, but if we'd had a 59.59 at Westerfolds on Saturday, I would have been pretty dirty.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Why?
Because my daughter Kasha got a PB, a parkrun, an all-time parkrun PB on the occasion of her 25th volunteering effort.
Wow, that's how you can't top that.
You can't. It was a great morning. So let me take us back. We did the setup. We did the pre-event setup, which is a job at Westerfolds, and it's a legitimate job. When I started the event, I had this great idea to put K markers out, and there's a couple of points in the course where you could go the wrong way and end up in the city or either out in the bush. So we have to put a couple of directional signs out. And because it's a big one-lap course, there's no avoiding it. You have to do the setup. And it's been a job that's always been filled. People like doing it. They don't mind getting a walk-in before parkrun. And for whatever reason, about a couple of months ago, Kasha decided that that's the job she wanted to do for her 25th volunteering stint. So in the middle of winter, wish she'd chosen summer, but in the middle of winter when it was dark, we went out and put the signs out together, and we actually made some new signs for Westerfolds, which was, well, I think it was a bit of a treat. But we did all that. Kasha got acknowledged for her 25 milestone stint, and then she was just determined to get a PB for some reason. Not sure where it came from. I think it's the regular running at Junior Parkrun has absolutely helped her. We got to 2K, no complaining of stitches, no complaining of sore legs. I just turned to her and said, how are you feeling? And she said, good. And we powered up the next hill. We had to stop for a shoelace malfunction. We had a reckless rogue shoelace that stopped our time. And actually... this is
PB nonetheless.
A PB nonetheless. And not only that, but as I went to turn my watch on at the start, bloody Garmin wanted to install an update. And I thought I said no, but apparently I said yes. So then my watch is installing an update. So Kasha and I actually missed the start by a couple of seconds. So we've got plenty of room to improve moving forward.
Okay.
But
how much did she smash her PB by?
A couple of minutes.
Ah.
Yep. So she was all over it.
Slowed it down.
And she was so determined. The hill, there's a big hill getting up to the 4K point at Westerfolds, and she powered up that, didn't stop, and then she knew it was all downhill, and we were sprinting all the last K. And she was in pain, she was hurting, but I said, we can slow down, we can stop. But she said, no, I just want to get my PB.
Bless her little heart.
Yeah. So it was a proud moment. It was a proud dad moment on Saturday.
And did she feel amazing? Was she just like walking on sunshine for the rest of the weekend?
Again, Kasha internally proud, but she wanted to know where the PB bell was, so she went over and gave it a good ring. But I think it destroyed her because she just then wanted to crash. I could feel it. It's a big effort. It's a big effort. I think, to run 5K hard for a 10-year-old after getting up early and walking the course to do setup. And she had the
effort for anyone.
She had the rest of the weekend off, which was well deserved.
Well, congratulations, Kasha. Well done, honey.
It's time to welcome back one of our favourite guests. Whenever we have Kelly on, we get rave reviews. So welcome back to the podcast, Kelly Hodges.
Lovely. Thank you so much for having me.
Kelly, you are very popular. People love hearing about food and nutrition, and you're an expert in that space. I want to kick us off today. So we all know that the post-parkrun ritual is very important, be it coffee or, in my daughter's case, juice. So she's a bit too young for coffee. I'm trying. I offer her a coffee every morning and she declines. But she loves a juice. One thing I've noticed is the vast variety in juices that she's served up. So her preference is apple juice. She'll occasionally go an orange. But I want to know the difference between a freshly squeezed orange juice and then some of the stuff that she gets served that I know comes straight out of the bottle. Paint a picture here. The apple juice in particular, if it comes that horrible, sickly sweet brown stuff, I'm not sure what that is, as opposed to freshly squeezed apple juice that's usually, cloudy apple and it's white and it's got lots of froth on it. What's the difference between those juices? What am I giving my daughter?
Okay, that is an amazing question because there is so much differences when it comes to juices, and lots of people, I think, they have a juice just because it's a fruit juice and they think that it's going to be really healthy for them and they're going to get all those vitamins and minerals no matter what sort of juice that they're getting. But just like you say, there is such a massive range of different types of juices, and the type of juice that you actually have is going to be so important for what you actually get out of the juice. So the first thing when it comes to juicing or when it comes to any of the juices, what you have to remember is that most of the store-bought juices, what they'll be doing is they remove all of the skin, all of the seeds, all of the fiber from the juice. And so what they're doing is they're getting the fruit and they're squeezing out all of the good things, so all of the sugar and the fluid, and they're leaving everything else behind. So you'll end up with the juice that's very high in carbohydrates. Juices are generally as high in sugar as what Coke is, to give you an idea. So juice, when you're having a glass of juice, if it's not a freshly squeezed juice, if it is just a store-bought, just a cheapy sort of juice, then it is going to pretty much be as good for you as what Coke is. When it comes to the different, brands of juices, you can get different brands where, for example, an orange juice, it's got the pulp included. When it's got the pulp included, then it's got some extra fiber in there, which is really good. That's what you're wanting. You're wanting the extra fiber, the extra bits and pieces in there. When you've got something like your apple juice and it comes out like that brown syrup as opposed to a nice cloudy apple, freshly squeezed, good one, they pretty much there's a few different things, but pretty much they've used one where all you've got in there is the sugar and the flavor left with the water, as opposed to the fiber and all those other bits that you're actually wanting in the juice as well. And I guess the difference, what's the difference between a store-bought juice versus like a freshly squeezed juice, is that when you've got a store-bought juice, you're missing out on a lot of fiber is the major thing that you would be missing out on. Where when you've got a freshly squeezed juice, depending on how they actually press the juice, you get the fiber in there. But then also because it's freshly squeezed, you get a lot more of the vitamins and minerals that that you'll actually be able to take on board. When it's just sitting there for quite a while, you lose a lot of that nutrition. So your body doesn't absorb it because the juice doesn't retain it. Whereas when it's freshly squeezed and when it's got all of the pulp in there, when it's got the skin of the apple that's being blended up into that juice, then you've got the fiber going in there as well. So freshly squeezed is a much better option than a store-bought one. If you're buying a store-bought one, always have a look at the ingredient list. And when you're looking at the ingredient list, have a look to make sure that it says pretty much 100% oranges or 100% apples or whatever it might be. They sometimes add in vitamin C, but what a lot of them do to make them cheaper is they'll go 60% oranges and then they'll add in their own flavors as well. So you're only getting a 60% juice and then it's diluted with apple flavor or water or other bits and pieces as well. So get it as natural as possible.
I kind of knew this was the answer, Kelly, but it still blows my mind that a glass of that sickly sweet brown apple juice that's sometimes served is the equivalent of a Coke. And I can see it because ever I taste it, it's disgusting. And good on Kasha because she actually prefers like a freshly squeezed orange juice. That's what she really likes. And when she's delivered a store-bought orange juice that it just doesn't taste right, she can tell and she's not as happy.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so good. To give you an idea of the sugar in these drinks, pretty much like a glass, so 250 mils, has about 8 teaspoons of sugar in, and no one drinks 250 mils. Most people will drink probably closer to about the 500 mils, and so you're ranging about between 12 and 16 teaspoons of sugar that you would be getting from a glass of juice.
Is that freshly squeezed or of any kind, Kelly?
Yeah, so that would be freshly squeezed or of just a commercial one. The only difference is when you've got a freshly squeezed, when you've got all of the fiber in there, the sugar doesn't go into your bloodstream as quickly. So your body has a chance to actually absorb it and use the sugar as opposed to giving you a sugar high and then crashing your sugar level straight afterwards. So having the fiber in there will just help to stabilize those sugar levels.
And is there a particular fruit or combination of fruits, for example, that is better and has less sugars? So often you'll go to a cafe and they will have like juices that are a mixture of 3 different fruits or more and, freshly squeezed and everything like that, but not just straight orange juice and not just straight apple juice, for example.
Yeah. So all fruit will have the carbohydrate and the sugar in there, which is absolutely fine. But when you can have a lower sugar option, then that's also a great option. And so the fruits that have less sugar are things like your kiwi fruits and your berries. They're the biggest ones that people will actually be juicing. The other juices, such as when you're adding in watermelon or mango, or orange juice, or all of those sorts of ones, they are much higher in sugar. And so, if you get a combination, just like everything, always just get a good variety into you. Sometimes get the berry, sometimes get the orange. They've all got a different nutrient profile. So some will have lots of vitamin C, others will have lots of antioxidants. And so it's always good, just like anything, to mix it all up.
Sounds good. I am partial to a juice after parkrun as well. I'm not being a big coffee drinker, though at the moment it's all about the hot chocolate because it's too cold. Could we go to milky drinks? Obviously, milk is a bit of a what people consider, like I know a lot of people who have like a chocolate milk after a long run because of protein or something like that, and I don't know if it's an urban myth that it's a good thing or a bad thing, but what about coffees and hot chocolates and things like that? Can they be of any benefit after a run?
Like definitely. I guess it depends on what type. So if you're having, let's say, for example, a coffee, if it's something like a long black where you've just got the coffee and the water, then all you're getting in there is the caffeine hit. If you're having something like a cappuccino, or like a flat white or a latte, then you've got the milk in there as well. So yes, you've got your caffeine, which lots of people love, but then you've also got the milk in there, which will give you protein, electrolytes, some healthy fats, and some carbohydrates. And so it actually hits all four of those replacements that we're looking for post exercise. And so when you've got a milk based drink, providing you can tolerate milk, then having a milk based drink will actually provide a lot more nutritional benefit than having a water based drink such as a long black. When it comes to a hot chocolate, it's got the exact same. So if it's a milk-based hot chocolate, then you've got your protein, your electrolytes, your fluids, your healthy fats, your carbohydrates in there, and so that's going to be good. You've also got that extra shot of sugar in there from the hot chocolate, like from the actual chocolate part of it. And so when it comes to milk itself is amazing, especially post-exercise, because it is kind of, I guess, nutritionally complete for something after exercise. When it comes to adding coffee or chocolate, that's a preference, and it's not 100% needed, but it is definitely enjoyed and not a bad thing.
Definitely a preference. I like it. What about when people mix in alternatives to cow's milk? So, for example, almond milk or soy milk with their coffees and things like that. How do those go as substitutes?
Well, that's actually really interesting. So, almond milk, for example, there's different types of almond milk. You get sweetened almond milk and then you get unsweetened almond milk. But a lot of these alternatives, whether it's almond or coconut or soy or rice, a lot of them have a very minimal amount of protein in them. And so they've got far less protein and also less electrolytes in them and less of the healthy fats. And then depending if you're buying a sweetened or unsweetened, it can have similar or more sugar in there. So you just land up with a different nutrient profile. Generally, if you're having, let's say, for example, a coffee based on almond milk post-run, it generally won't be enough protein in there to compensate all the muscle tears and everything that you've just had in your body. So if you can have cow's milk, it does have the higher nutritional value in there. But if you can't tolerate it, then having these alternative milks is fine. Just knowing that it's not as nutritionally complete and you might need something extra to go along with that.
Okay, Kelly, we're talking proteins. My understanding of proteins is that's how you get massive. That's how you get the big muscles. I see the guys in the gym, they're all about the protein. So can you just dumb it right down for me in particular? What's the use of protein? Why should I be including it in my diet? Is it important to me as a quote-unquote runner, or is it just for the gym junkies?
Yes, so protein is so important. It's one of the three major macronutrients that everybody needs on a regular basis. If you're not getting enough protein in your diet, everything's going to go pear-shaped. So we need to make sure that you've got enough protein. The role of protein itself is really important for both runners and non-runners. And it's also important to remember that protein is pivotal, yes, when you're training and post-exercise, but then also just ongoing. And so when you're having protein, lots of people go, oh, you know what, I'm going to the gym, I'm going to have a big hit of protein afterwards, or I've just been for a long run, I'm going to have some protein afterwards to compensate. But you do need like a regular supply of protein in you every day to avoid any muscle wastage, even when you're not training. So I guess the role of protein, yes, absolutely. It's got the muscle mass component in there, but it's not the more protein, the more muscle. So I have to remember that. But yeah, so it does help with muscle mass. It does help with immunity is a really big one as well. It pretty much fights infections. It helps with satiety, so just keeping you fuller for longer. So that can be important, especially for people who are wanting some weight loss, who don't quite feel full after a meal. If you increase that protein level, you can feel a bit fuller for longer, which is really nice to not feel hungry. Protein is also, I guess, repair and maintenance of the body as well. And so everything in your body is made up of protein. And so if you're not putting enough protein into your body's not going to be doing all of the functions that it needs to be doing. So have to have regular protein, whether you're training or not training.
Talking about the repair and the build and things like that, obviously every time anyone goes for a run, when they're increasing their distances or their speeds and things like that, that's when the damage happens, isn't it? That we need the proteins to fix.
Yes, absolutely. And so when you're exercising, that's when all of the little tears happen in the muscles. And so if you don't have enough protein following exercise, that's when your body won't be getting that aid to fix the tears. So that's why it's so important that following exercise, generally within the half hour, you're having a hit of protein just so your body can start repairing all the tears in its body. That's what causes the muscles to enlarge as well. So all the people who are wanting bigger muscles, when you are exercising, post-exercise, you have your protein, and it does also grow the muscles. And then just making sure that you got enough protein in you on a regular basis, but post-exercise to do that repair. If you don't have that repair, you'll probably just find that you'll take longer to recover. Your muscles won't grow as quickly. You won't get as toned as quickly. And also, if you're not having enough protein, you'll get what's called muscle catabolism, which is just your body will start using your current muscles for energy if you're not putting enough protein back into your body. So it'll break down those muscles.
And let's talk about sources of protein. Now, I've transitioned, much to Mel's disappointment, to become a flexitarian, where I'm getting a bit more fish and chicken in my diet. Now, Mel's a vegetarian. Should she be getting the protein powders, or can she get enough protein through plant-based sources?
Yeah, so everyone can get enough protein through the diet. Protein powders are fine if you're unable to get your protein requirements, but providing you're healthy, you're able to prepare your own foods, you've got no sort of complications, then absolutely Mel should be able to get all of her protein in a standard plant-based diet.
For the record, I would like it stated that it's not much to my disappointment that Scotty has transitioned to being a flexitarian. He can do whatever he likes with his diet. Any disappointment you feel, Scotty, you're projecting on yourself. So it's not coming from me.
It's probably true, Mel. You are right again.
But I do love how you ask on my behalf what I should be putting into my diet protein-wise.
It's because I care.
It is because you care. I love that you did ask about the powders, though, because I do have a family member who I will not identify by relationship who did this little challenge a few years ago where he wanted to go from geek to freak, and he had this plan that over this period of a month he took before photos. He didn't quite get to the after photos part because it didn't turn out the way he wanted, and he just completely pumped in the powders and the shakes and things like that, but he forgot to do the exercise part. So he kind of just went from geek to slightly fatter geek. So Kelly, can you tell me what's the relationship with those sorts of powders and things like that? And, why do bodybuilders feel like they need to take them if they're not, getting? Why aren't they just eating more protein in normal foods?
Well, I guess with the protein powders, they are a really easy option. They're also an isolated option as well, where it's just like just a whey protein or just an isolate. Like it's just one type of protein that the body's going to be using. Therefore, it's easily digested. The body easily makes use of it. It grows your muscles straight after a session at the gym or outdoors or whatever it might be. You can just have your protein shake ready to go, and it's just convenient. The thing with protein powders, though, is that they're not natural. And obviously natural is always going to be best. And so when it comes to protein powders, unless in certain circumstances I'll say, yeah, okay, maybe let's talk about it. But for the general population, we don't need protein powders at all, because protein powders, they are incomplete. And so if you think about having a protein shake, yes, you've got your protein there, but if you were to have a protein shake versus, let's say, I don't know, a piece of steak, with the piece of steak, you've got all of your vitamins and minerals going in there. You've got your fat going in there. You've got that satiety. You've got that protein. You've got the different amino acids. Whereas with the protein shake, it's literally just one type of protein. So you can land up nutrient deficient over time, just because, yes, you're getting your protein, but you're missing out on all those other benefits. You're also missing out on, and it sounds silly, but just that simple act of chewing and registering to your body, okay, I'm eating and I'm feeling full, and just that appetite kind of control and that satiety that's regulating everything as well. So with protein powders, honestly, if you can get it from real food, get it from the food, because real food will give you so much more benefit in regards to nutrients that protein powder won't do. Also, real food is so much cheaper than protein powders as well.
I want to talk about portions before we wrap up protein, Kelly. You mentioned a piece of steak. Now, I think this is where people get in trouble too. Their definition of a piece of steak is a lot different to my definition of a piece of steak, for example. So how much protein should we be getting? And maybe not in grams, or just what it looks like. What should it look like on my plate? Can you give us a couple of examples?
Yeah, so I guess when it comes to, it's a bit of a tricky question, because for protein, if you're trying to build muscle, you're wanting smaller, more regular hits of protein. Therefore, you're wanting to stick to protein roughly about 30 grams, which on the plate would look like about the size of your palm and the thickness at your pinky. And so it's quite a small piece of steak. If you're not trying to build protein, you're just getting your regular protein requirements for the day, going up to the size of your hand is absolutely fine. What that would just mean is that all that protein that you're getting, you'll use some of that immediately, but then the rest of it you won't be using immediately for muscle growth. And that's where gym junkies and the people wanting to build muscles get a bit confused. They need smaller portions, whereas us who aren't too phased about how big our muscles are, we can have larger portions of protein. So generally, for a piece of steak, aiming for the size of your palm up to the size of your hand. Generally not too much bigger than that, because if you're getting too much bigger than that, you're filling up on protein, which means you won't have enough room for your veggies, which is not good.
And little known fact, vegetables have proteins in them too.
Yes, they do. They're just not as high as your meat. So pretty much most of your foods will have like really small amounts of your protein in there. So absolutely, if you've got like things, I don't know, broccoli, spinach, all of those dark green leafies, they're definitely known for protein and good sources, especially for vegetarians. Also, the really exciting thing with dark green veggies, which you probably know, Mel, is they help with iron absorption as well. So for people having a piece of steak, for example, if you're having that with dark green leafy veg, so broccoli, spinach, kale, rocket, any of those dark green leafy ones, it helps with iron absorption as well. So you absorb more iron.
always a bonus, especially for vegetarians, those sorts of things. But it is a conversation that I have a lot of time. Like, as soon as somebody finds out that you're a vegetarian, they're like, oh, how do you get your protein? Like, literally, that has got to be the number one most asked question of me when people find out. And so many people just don't realize that there's a difference between being a good vegetarian and being a lazy vegetarian. And a lazy vegetarian is one of those people who only eats junk food and chips and crap, and it obviously not getting much nutritional value. But if you're, having that variety in your diet and you get protein in lots of little bits and pieces from all sorts of things that you're eating, then it all adds up to what you actually need. So
absolutely. And I think that's so important, like you say, like you do get the good vegetarians and then you do kind of get those lazier ones. And I think in the dietetic world, we mostly see the lazy ones who come in because they are protein deficient or iron deficient because they aren't following a diet. But if you're like you say, you've got good variety, you've got lots of different sources of protein, you've got lots of little bits going into you throughout the day, then that's perfect. Like you can 100% or 150% meet those protein requirements, providing you, like you say, providing you actually do it properly and eat proper food.
Kelly, there's a reason you are one of our favourite guests. That was fascinating chat today. I feel like I'm more informed and ready to tackle my nutrition. So thanks for coming on the Parkrun Adventurers podcast again.
You're welcome. Thanks so much for having me. We'll chat to you guys soon.
Good morning, Parkrun Adventurers. It's Lyndell here. I'm checking in from the launch of Pallara Parkrun, a brand new parkrun in the southern suburbs of Brisbane. The briefing's just started, so I better go, otherwise I might get lost. And I'll check in after the run. See ya. Alrighty, post-run, I've tracked down our first ever finisher at Pallara Parkrun. What's your name and how did you go today?
My name is Ethan. Yeah, not too bad. It's mostly flat course, bit grassy, but yeah, pretty good, I guess. Yeah. Excellent.
Well, you seem like you were running pretty well to me. So, but I take 36 minutes to do a parkrun. So, and how many parkruns have you done? How long have you been parkrunning?
All right. I think I'm up to 294 or something like that. I started parkrun. I think, would be like almost 6 years ago now. It's good. 6 years. First, I started at New Farm, was the first parkrun I did. Yep. And like to go around to all the launches and everything. It's good fun.
Excellent. And so have you got a top 3 parkruns of your favourite ones that you've done?
Not really. There are lots of nice ones. Yeah. I guess I love New Farm because it's my home parkrun. Yeah. And I like to go to the markets afterwards and get food and stuff like that, so it's good.
Excellent. Yeah. Food after parkrun's always a winner, right? Yeah. Okay, and so Pallara won't be a home parkrun. New Farm will continue to be a part of the home parkrun?
Yeah, pretty much. Might come visit a few times. It's not too far from where I live, probably like 15-20 minutes, so might come visit. Yeah.
And any other adventures planned to any other parkruns?
I'm not too sure, to be honest. I run with my family, with my parents and everything, and they're the ones who say, oh yeah, let's go to this one, let's go to that one, so not too.
That's probably true. You're a young bloke. How old are you?
I just turned 20. Yeah.
So it's good to do stuff with your family.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you for talking to me on the podcast today, Ethan. Happy park running. Yeah. And hey, not too long to 300. All the best for that, my friend.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Okay, now I've tracked down Kerry. Kerry, where are you from? You've got your Callan Vale shirt on. Does that mean that you're semi-local to Pallara?
Semi-local, yeah. Only around the corner, sort of halfway between here and Callan Vale, really.
Yeah. And this would be the closest other park run to Callan Vale?
Yeah, second closest to Callan Vale for me.
Yep. Alrighty. And how did you find the course today?
Awesome. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's open, a little bit of trail, a little bit of grass, a little bit of cement, a lot of friendly people.
Yep. Excellent. And so your home parkrun is Callan Vale.
Yep.
How did you get into parkrun?
Started off over at Wishart, and I was just walking on weekends to loosen up from my job, feeling stiff and sore, and came across a heap of people, and a lady let me know to get online. I had a look. Okay, so every Saturday I started over there, and then I moved over this side of town and found Callum Vale from the inaugural run ever since.
Yeah, excellent. And so what do you like most about parkrun?
Community, meeting people like yourself. Got friends at Callum Vale. I got other friends at Wishart. I go up to Bundaberg regularly, and got some other people I've met up there, and just go for a coffee, and just the general friendly nature. Everybody's here just for fun, just to enjoy a run, whether you walk it, you jog it, or you run it, or you're going for a PB, or you're just out for a stroll with the dog.
It doesn't matter.
Nah.
It doesn't matter. It's all fun.
It is. It's
And
relaxing.
It's
relaxing.
Yeah. So you've got a running shirt on now, so has parkrun turned you into a runner?
Part of the Callum Vale, to some extent, only on Saturdays. Don't bother any other time.
That makes sense.
Yeah. No, there's a couple of other park runs that have had shirts they've had made up, and as a group, a few people got together and thought, well, let's do the same. So this is the second run of shirts we've actually had. We've had a couple of great people, run directors that have joined together and found some shirt producers, and everybody sort of jumped on board. So we had about 50 or 60 odd shirts run, t-shirts and singlets.
Excellent. Well, they look very smart.
They do.
Thanks for your time this morning, Kerry, and happy parkrunning.
Thank you very much for your time. Cheers.
Now, I found Janice. Janice, you're looking particularly fetching in your fluoro orange today.
Yes, it is spectacular. It works on any skin tone.
Absolutely. Everyone looks good in fluoro orange. Thank you for volunteering today. What was your role?
I was a marshal on the first corner. It was a difficult corner. I had to remember to do the first corner and then come back and do the second. You know, it was highly mentally taxing this morning, and the runners were too fast, but I got to my second marshal point, and I feel I've achieved my goal for the day.
Excellent news. Well, I haven't heard that anyone's gotten lost. So big tick from me.
They're
Thumbs
still
up.
lost. That's why we haven't heard from them.
I don't think that's the case. Well, hopefully not. So how did you get involved with Pallara, and are you local to this area?
I am very local. I got involved because my husband is the event director.
They always rope everyone in, don't they?
They do. But I live very close to here. I teach at Pallara State School, so it's certainly our very local event, and it's been great. It's been a little bit chilly this morning, but it's warming up now. Thank God.
Yes, you did have a nice sunny spot there on that corner, I must say.
I found the one spot that was sunny.
Well done. So you are obviously very, very ingrained in the parkrun community now, being a partner of a event director. What's your parkrun journey? Is this your first time being in parkrun? Have you parkrun before?
No, I've done many a parkrun. We've been doing parkrun for about 4 years now. We were pretty involved, both being run directors over at Callum Vale, and we love our Callum Vale community. The Callum Vale Parkrun are beautiful people, and we got a lot of the Callum Vale runners here to support us today.
I've just spoken to Kerry. He's a nice bloke.
Keza, he's awesome.
Oh, he was a bit shy. I didn't tell me he was referred to as Keza. Anyway, back to you, Janice.
We've been involved for about 4 years now. Peter's been doing the run director quite a bit over at Callum Vale, and we've been 4 years, and first one here at Pallara.
Excellent. And have you been to many other runs as runners? Do you have a favourite or top 3 park runs?
We really like Berrinbar. It's a great one. It's a big one. They're really supportive there. We have actually been out to, my parents own a property out at Pittsworth, and we have done the Pittsworth Park Run.
Oh, awesome.
Which we're fairly certain is the only park run in Australia that goes through a set of cattle yards.
Ooh.
So...
Well, there you go, Parkrun Adventurers. There's someone to put on your map.
And shout out to Pittsworth. It's their 4th anniversary today. So if you want to head out to the Pittsworth, it's a big crowd. They usually get 10 park runners. So if you want to feel good about yourself and get in first, because it's a small town,
Top 10. Top 10. Excellent. Well, Thank you, Janice, for talking to me. Thank you so much for all of the work that you've put into the parkrun community, both here and at Vale. And hopefully I'll see you again around the traps.
Thank you so much. Thanks for coming today.
Alrighty, Scotty and Mel, I've found the littlest volunteer here today. What's your name?
Maddie.
And Maddie, can you tell me what you're wearing?
A dressing gown.
And what colour is it?
Purple and pink and white.
And why are you wearing your dressing gown to parkrun?
It's because it's cold.
It is really cold, isn't it? Good on you for getting up to volunteer. You did a very good job of directing people. And I also saw that you brought in all of the cones back to the headquarters here, didn't you? Well done. Now, what else have you done at Parkrun before? Have you done anything else at Parkrun before?
I ran a race before at Parkrun.
Do you know which Parkrun it was?
The one over there, the old one.
Maybe the one at Vale? Yeah. And are you going to come to Pallara now?
Yes.
Excellent. Well, I hope that I see you here again another time. I'm an adventurer, so I don't come to the same one all the time. I go to lots of different parkruns. But maybe I'll see you another time at a parkrun.
Yes.
Thank you, Maddie. Okay, Peter, event director at Pallara Parkrun. How are you going and how did the launch go today?
Good, yeah. It was good to see lots of happy smiling faces and people enjoying the run. And it was nice to see the fruits of your labour come to life. So, you know, all the hard work behind the scenes for the last 6 months or so, and actually see people out there running and getting a parkrun done today.
Excellent. And how did that process go? I spoke to your wife a bit earlier and she said that you'd been involved with Vale and that you decided to start up Pallara. So how did that all come about?
Yeah, so I was a run director over at Vale, and one of the local runners was approached actually by Stockland to see if we could set up a parkrun here, and she had me in mind, so I got the tap on the shoulder, and I thought it'd be a good place for a parkrun, and it's not far from home, and because I had the experience with being a run director at Vale, I thought it made sense for me to be the ED for this one and get it up and running, so yeah.
Excellent. And it's a bit of a mixed terrain course here at Pallara.
It is, yeah. It's a little bit different, which I really like. So we start off with some concrete, and then we've got a grass section with some small undulations. It's pretty flat most of the way, right?
Yeah.
Then we've got a bridge in the middle of the course, which is nice for some photos that I'm putting up on our Facebook page.
Scotty, you love a bridge, so get up to Pallara.
It's a nice bridge. There's a gravel section through some bush, which will be nice and shady and cool during summer. And then our second turnaround point's out on another field, so there's a bit more grass. So it really is. There's a mix of lots of different terrains in this parkrun.
Yep, bit of everything, not too hilly, and lots of people. Do you know how many people finished today?
No, I haven't done a count yet, but by looking at the numbers, I thought it was about 120 to 150, something like that. So yeah. So
and how do you know what kind of numbers you're going to expect here on a regular week?
I think we'll settle in somewhere around the 100 mark eventually. I reckon for the first, it's winter, so the numbers are usually down. And at Vale, we've been having about 110 per Saturday. In Forest Lake, they get about 120. So I think eventually we'll settle around about that 100 mark. I wouldn't be surprised if we're a little bit less than that to start off with. So yeah, sort of the 50 to 100 mark would be what I'm expecting.
That's it. And there's a bit of development happening, so numbers will grow over time potentially.
Yeah, exactly. There's a huge amount of development going on in Pallara here. So it's one of the reasons that I wanted to start the parkrun early, so that when new people come here, it's, you know, there's that sense of community with parkrun, so people can get involved in their community and meet some more people around, and get out there and do some exercise and activity.
That's great. Now, one last question. You said at your opening briefing, you talked about the origins of the name Pallara.
Yes. Yeah, so Pallara is actually an Aboriginal word meaning flat land, which is sensational for running, right? So so I thought I'd make a note of that in my first speech for Pallara's parkrun launch.
Excellent. Well, thank you for that insight. Thanks for talking to me today, and thank you so much for all the hard work that you've done in setting up Pallara and also run directing before that. You've obviously made a great contribution to Parkrun in South Brisbane, so thanks very much.
No worries, my pleasure. Parkrun's a great event, getting people together, and Parkrun's given a lot to me as well. So, sense of community. I've made some great friendships. It's been great for my mental and physical health. So, yeah, Parkrun's a great cause, a great event.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
No worries. Thank you.
Alrighty, Parkrun Adventurers, that's it. Pallara Parkrun is launched. According to my very scientific calculations, i.e. checking out a couple of maps, it appears to be the 20th parkrun launched in the Brisbane City Council catchment area, which strikes me as probably a bit of a milestone for that council area. Scotty and Mel, it sounds like one that you should definitely be putting on your list, because especially in winter, Mel, dressing gown wearing volunteer just for you. Scotty, there's a bridge. What's not to love about Pallara? So I'll leave it there. Thanks for listening, and see you next time on the podcast.
Good morning, Parkrun Adventurers. It's Allan here from Portland Parkrun. We're touristing today at over here at Point Fairy, a local event which is close to us. A 6:45 start this morning from Portland, which wasn't too bad a drive. Got here about 7:45 and ready to go. I'm with Kay here. G'day, Kay.
Hi, Al.
Kay's from Portland as well.
We're actually doing the parkrun as we speak.
We are doing the parkrun. I'm just about finished. Kay's actually already finished. This is a 3-lap course, and we're going up the back straight now with about 200 metres to go, which is really good. We'll get back to the finish and have a chat to some other parkrunners and try and get hold of Kate Winnan, who is the event director here at Point Fairy. So this is Allan reporting for Channel 5 News.
Get onto it.
I've just finished the parkrun course here at Point Fairy. I'm with the event director, Kate Winnan. How you going, Kate?
Excellent, thank you.
Beautiful day. You've turned the weather on for us again today. It's a beautiful day here. Like, it's always perfect in Point Fairy, isn't it?
It's like this every single week. We don't get any rain, nothing. It's beautiful.
Just for the people who haven't done Point Fairy, just describe your course for us a little bit.
3 laps of a lovely, what we call Russell Clark Reserve. There's lots of bird life. We have a pretty decent hill that we run up 3 times, and another hill that's also pretty decent. So 6 hills really, and 9 hills, isn't it? 3 times 3. 2 stuffed up.
It's Saturday morning. Don't worry about that. It's fine.
Hills.
We can edit that out.
And then we have a little.
We probably won't.
No. Just come to Port Fairy and run our hills.
Run the hills at Port Fairy.
Everybody thinks Port Fairy's flat, but it's not.
That's right.
We have hills.
It's a good mix of concrete. We've got bitumen paths, and you also got like a really proper parkrun.
Yes.
A nice grassy, little bit muddy and slippery hill.
Yeah, and I actually think, Allan, that might have been your idea to put our finish up here on the grass. Because we wanted to get off that finish path. That was your suggestion.
I had nothing to do with it, did I?
Yeah, so let's call it. Well, Allan's finishing straight, I reckon.
That's a go. And we've good numbers also too here today. I think there's probably would be about 30 or 40 people.
Yeah, we average between 20 and 30 a week. So for a little town like Port Fairy, we have lots of people that walk. Lots of really keen walkers, including my mother.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Well, it's great to be here at Point Fairy Parkrun. We'll keep moving on. Thank you, Kate.
Is that all right? I did stuff up a little bit.
I'm here now with Sue from Point Fairy. Sue's the run director today. How you going, Sue?
I'm well, thank you very much.
Good. You're obviously regular run direct because you did a really good job at the briefing, which you explained everything, the course for us as well, so it was really good.
Thank you.
How often do you run direct?
I'm probably every 5 to 6 weeks.
5 to 6 weeks ago. So you've got about 5 or 6 run directors here?
Yeah, we do. Yes.
Which is really good, yeah. And you don't find any problem with volunteering? You love volunteering?
I like volunteering, yes.
Oh, fantastic.
It's one way they can give back, yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And you're running or walking around Parkrun when you do it?
I run normally.
You run normally? And what sort of time do you do it in?
Around 25, 26.
Fantastic time. Well done. And thank you for volunteering today at Point Fairy.
It's been my pleasure.
Been fantastic. And
lovely to have you here.
Parkruns don't run without volunteers, so thank you very much.
Right.
Okay,
my pleasure. No worries. Nice.
Now, no podcast complete without with talking to Tracy, the Bath listener, is actually shaking her head and walking away. I can't believe this, but no podcast is complete without talking to the Portland crew. I've got Kay.
Hi.
I've got Jeanette, or Blanket, and I've got Paige and Tracy right over there. Get over here, Trace. Now, Paige, this is a tourist park run for you.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, and we've got a bit of an accent there too, Paige. Tell everyone where you're from.
I'm from Calgary, Alberta.
And you're going back there soon, we believe.
Going back there in a few more weeks.
We're going to lose you. And Paige is actually also a run director down there at Portland as well. So what do you think of the course here?
I really liked the course. The hills were really nice, and I loved the view as we went by the ocean 3 times.
So it's nice?
It's nice.
So what do we think we're going to look at Calgary Parkrun?
Hills.
Hills? We're going to look for one over there? You're going to start one up over there? You're going to think about starting?
There is one in Calgary.
Okay, yep.
I'll start parkrun in there.
You start parkrun there?
Well, I'll just keep
park running there. Well done.
Park running there.
We spoke to Kay before as we were finishing. How you going, Kay?
I'm good, thanks.
You're nice and warm now.
Yes,
got
I've
the
got
jacket
my coat on. And,
yes, it is a little bit cool here, but it's not too bad. The sun is out, so it's nice, and the waves are nice and big out there too. You might go for surf.
I think Tracy and I are going to go and stand in the water, aren't we?
Yeah, maybe. Oh, beautiful. And I've got Janet here now. Janet, I believe you did a 5.1 kilometre parkrun today. Tell us about that.
Well, if anyone's going to do that extra 1%, it's going to be me, who has no sense of direction whatsoever.
Now, it is a 3-lap, but we must tell the people that you actually got lost in the last lap. So you've done 2 laps before that, so you should have known where to go. But that's all right. You did come back to us and ask. That was really great. That was fantastic.
I've done that at Portland too. It wasn't my first time when I did the extra.
Yeah, and that's scary because we go out and back. And we got Trace here. How you going, Trace?
Yeah, very well, thank you.
Very well. What did you think of the park run?
I like the Port Fairy park run. I like all the different surfaces that you run on, and I like that the hills are spread out and not so big all at once.
Fantastic. And you're here in Port Fairy. You'll stick around for breakfast?
Yeah, I will.
I think we're all sticking around for breakfast and go and enjoy this park run morning.
Catch up with the crew. That'll be good.
No worries. Well, this is Allan reporting for Channel 5 News at Port Fairy Park Run. And thank you, guys.
Lyndell Murray is back, but I'm sure you all recognise her voice by now, so you didn't need me to tell you that. But she was at the Pallara launch, and Allan Hoskins making a return for his 3rd roving report, because we did have one in the early days from Allan. And he was at Port Fairy Parkrun. Cute little name, Mel. Do you know much about Port Fairy Parkrun? More than you know after listening to that roving report?
Not too much more than that, no, Scotty.
Okay, well, there's your assignment for the week, Mel. Do your research on Port Fairy Parkrun and report back to us next week.
Okay, we'll see what I can come up with. Somebody else, you just mentioned Lyndell was at the Pallara launch. Somebody else who's launching this weekend, we've got Doomadgee in Queensland.
Now, what do you know about Doomadgee?
What I know is that everybody else pronounces it Doomadgee, but it's actually Doomadgee.
Doomadgee. Okay.
I know it is a remote community, and I'm expecting it's rather hot there. I do know it's also got a 9 a.m. start time.
Yeah, there are a few differences with Doomadgee that we're gonna learn more about next week. Hopefully, we've got a couple of adventurers attending the launch. My initial plans were to be there, but it's a long way away, Mel. It's really hard to get to.
Very long way away, yes.
Yeah, and from Melbourne to Doomadgee, that's a long way. So I'm going to get there. So it's on my radar and it's in my calendar, but I just can't attend the launch. But I'm looking forward to hearing how they go. Well, next week's pod, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Yes, we'll see if those roving reports, as promised, get to come into us. Meanwhile, we've got some anniversaries this weekend as well. They're all over the place. We've got Bathurst in New South Wales.
Christie's Beach, South Australia.
Cleland in South Australia.
Coomera, Queensland.
Maryborough in Queensland.
And Weipa in Queensland.
So that's another big bunch of anniversaries this week.
Every week, Mel. Every week. Lots of anniversaries. Now it's time for
The Poem Zone.
And I believe it's your turn this week, Scotty, to read out the poem. And lucky for you, we've got one that's quite short. We've returned to the haikus.
No. I'm stopping you there. How can you not remember last week? I read last week's Poem Zone. I read it fresh.
You did.
So actually it's your turn to read the Poem Zone.
Oh, well, that's lucky because haikus aren't your favourite, are they?
No, they're not.
Okay. Well, this one comes from Chris Timewell, and he is actually, I'm not sure if this is the title, but this was the subject title of the email, In Defence of the Humble Haiku. And obviously, Chris has submitted a haiku for us, and this is it. Let's all go clubbing. Statesman, alphabets, compass, parkrun piracy. Love it.
That's a poem.
It's a poem about the unofficial clubs.
And it's a haiku.
And it's a haiku.
Thanks, Chris. So the Poem Zone entries, they're still coming in. We still want more. Email them. Facebook. Do many people Facebook message us?
Messenger us? Yes, sometimes they do. Not as frequently as we receive things on the email.
Email's the way to go. 2018, email's coming back. Twitter or Instagram? Instagram.
Yes, and remember, I told people a few episodes ago that I would be looking for the hashtag Poem Zone, just in case they wanted to submit poems in that form, and I haven't been looking, so I should probably have a look just in case, because if somebody submitted poems on there, then obviously we don't want to miss them. So I will have a look after the episode today and make sure I make a note of any of those for future weeks.
Now, I teased at the top of the program that we're going to have a song, but with every good song comes a story. Can I share the story that's going to lead into our sing-along outro this week, Mel?
I think it's probably good if you do, because everybody needs a little bit of context around your random song choices, Scotty.
Now, I know you don't watch TV, partially because you can't find your remote control. That's been hijacked. Do you give us a quick background to that story?
Wesley has taken to getting our remote controls and hiding them places. And this was okay. So the first time he did it, we have 3 remote controls for our, like, one's a TV, one's a DVD player, and one's for the, like, set-top box or whatever you want to call it. And a few weeks ago, the one that we used to access Netflix, that disappeared. It was just a little remote and we couldn't find it. It took us an hour and a half, and eventually we found it inside one of the couches, inside our sofa bed, where he had dropped it into the inner workings. So despite having looked under every surface in the room, like under all the couches, it didn't fall through because it was inside the couch. So we found it. And about 10 days later, one of our other remote controls went missing. This was last Saturday. Well, who knows when it actually happened, because we actually watch television so infrequently that we have no actual time frame for when the remote control went missing. It was sometime between that first situation and then 10 days later. And so we wanted to watch something on the DVD player, but not a DVD, something that we've got on USB, which requires us to navigate, therefore using the remote control. And of course, it was gone. And I have turned my house upside down twice. I have literally, this is not an exaggeration, crawled around my house so that I could be at Wesley height and see if, I could see everything from his perspective, where might be a good little hidey hole. His favourite spots. Somebody did ask me, why didn't we put the remote controls up after the last time? Well, you know what? Because we knew where he hid it. And so that's just our go-to place to look to see if that's where he put it again. Turns out that that's not good enough, because he's found a different spot this time.
He's a young mastermind at Wesley.
Oh, my God. I am raising a criminal, I think, because it's what day is it today? Wednesday? Still can't find it. We've sort of given up, instead of watching a movie that Saturday night, we spent 2 hours looking for a remote control that we did not find. I have been bested by a 1-year-old. And yes, so there's not a lot of television that happens in my house. Okay. Long story short.
Well, how we got to this week's sing-along, and this is the song we're going to be singing along to. Remember the song, Mel?
I remember Andrew McCarthy.
That's it. That's the movie. So Mannequin. It's from the movie Mannequin, another 80s classic. How I came to this, I reactivated my Stan account. God knows why you would watch Stan, but they've released...
Parks and Rec are on Stan.
Is it? Well, I'm going to discover that now, because I've got Stan again, because I really wanted to see Who is America. And we're not going to go into a review of that. But
that's the one with young man Glover. No?
No. Who is America? No, it's Sacha Baron Cohen's new satire piece.
Gotcha.
It's amazing. It's amazing viewing. But I watched that, but it's really short. So I was up late last night, so I just started flicking and I came across Mannequin and thought, oh yeah, let's watch of that. and thought it would just last about 5-10 minutes, but made it all the way through. Managed to fall asleep towards the end and wake up at like 1-2 o'clock in the morning on the couch. And that song was playing in Mannequin, but when I woke up, Mel, that song is also in an ad for a car, and it was playing when I switched back out of Stan to TV. There was the song again. It was following me around.
Wow.
And it gave me the
creepy.
idea to... And it's a good song. And another,
it is a good song, but
another
what's
great
the
film clip.
odds of that?
I know. I can't tell you what the car ad was for, what car it was, but I remember the song.
Okay.
And I think it's a good place to end this episode. Now, if Starship, their lawyers are going to come after us, we are going to run out of Netflix money, but that's okay because after our mention of Stan, I think
we'll have somebody else
might
on
start
board.
there. Yeah. Now, for our UK audience, I don't think, is Stan a worldwide company, or is that just an Australian thing? Because it's a stupid name for
I'm not sure.
streaming service.
It I think they've got a similar thing in the UK, but it's a man's name as well, but it's not the same.
Okay,
I might be completely making that up.
Let us know if you've got no idea what Stan is. What were they thinking, Mel? It's not even a good bloke's name.
Well, is it an acronym for something?
I don't think so. Maybe. Probably should have researched that before I went into my rant against their name. But no, I think it's just I think they thought it was a cool name. I don't know.
Well, we shouldn't be ranting anyway, because if we want them to give us money to replace the Netflix money that we never got, then, you know.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of movies and etc., I went and saw Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again this week.
Sorry about that.
I know you're not an ABBA fan, but oh my God, they do a good job. And
really?
Yes. Just before I went to see the movie, Adam said to me, do they have enough songs to make 2 movies? And yes, they have enough songs, but they had actually also written a few extras. But Bjorn and Benny had written them, so it's all still the same guys, and it still sounded the same. So it was
really but good. It's never really the same, is it? It's like when one of the Eagles start touring or whatever, and we just want to hear the hits, but then they say, and here's a song from our new album.
No, it's completely different to that, Scotty. It was not like that at all. Okay. I cried a couple of times. And that's yeah.
Right.
Arguably better than the first film. If you're an ABBA fan, obviously go see it. I'm going to take Wesley to see it again, because the last time he didn't go to see it this time, but I'm going to go again to see it with him.
Wow.
The last movie I took him to see, a trailer came on for it, and he and his little friend Hope, who's turning 1 on Friday, they were both bobbing up and down in the cinema to the ABBA music. So I think, a whole 90 minutes of watching them dance to ABBA is definitely worth my time.
Right. See, I'd have no idea. I haven't seen the first one, but I've seen bits of it, and it looks horrific.
The only thing really horrific about the first one is Pierce Brosnan singing, and obviously when they told him he had to come back for a second one, he got a voice coach, which has done him well, because it was way less cringeworthy this time.
Okay.
Look, and I'm not saying that there aren't some cringeworthy moments, the bit where they sang Waterloo, yeah, that could have had some work done in the French restaurant. But overall, very satisfying movie, and feel good and touching, and just, yeah, get along and see it. It's really awesome.
Well, after hearing this song, I think you want to go back and revisit Mannequin and compare the two.
I will be revisiting Mannequin, but I will also be rocking out to ABBA Gold for the rest of the week, I think.
Never got the ABBA thing, so I don't think they're going to make an appearance on the sing-along. And just on that, see, talking about never getting it, we put Total Eclipse of the Heart on the car on a trip down to Geelong during the week, and Kasha loves it, which is great. She loved it. We were playing it all week. Ivona shocked and surprised me by saying she can't stand it. It's one of those songs that she hates. So, of course, hearing it about 10 times on the one trip didn't go down too well. But I don't know how you could hate that song.
Well, opposites attract, Scotty.
Yeah, this is true. I hope she likes this next one. We're not going on a road trip this weekend, so she might escape it.
But speaking of listening to podcasts, a very exciting podcast came out last week. Did you get a chance to have a listen?
I did. So Danny and Nicola are back. They're back in the Parkrun podcast universe. We've got more competition, Mel.
It's not competition with those guys.
How do we feel about this?
Well, no, it's like having old friends come home. Okay. It's awesome.
It is awesome. It is. So if you used to like the Parkrun Show UK that finished up 3 years ago, they've just picked up where they left off, basically.
Even if you didn't like the Parkrun Show UK or you never listened to it, it doesn't matter. Just if you enjoy our podcast, I think tune in, and I think you'll find it really valuable and fun and yeah, it's good.
It's
more than good. Go get it happening.
They're going to use that on their marketing material. Mel Urbecker, it's good.
It's more than good.
It's more than good. That's better. Yeah, I agree. It was great. It was great just to hear them both. We've had them on our pod before, but it just feels right. For us, it just feels right. So we highly recommend you check it out. With Me Now.
And it's available on iTunes now too.
Yep. All one word, all lowercase. But I think Danny's going to fix that because it's a bit hard to find. Search for Danny Norman, With Me Now, and you'll find it. And love it.
Yeah, because if it's all one word, all lowercase, that could be confused for With Men Ow.
Yeah.
Probably not what he was going for.
Okay, here it comes, Mel. Can you feel it?
I'm turning the volume up right now, Scotty.
Looking in your eyes, I see a paradise. This world that I found is too good to be true. Standing here beside